TVs have started to do it, monitors have done it, and today smartphones are getting in the game. Bezel-free, thin smartphones are now here, and it is ushered in by the new Samsung Galaxy S8. Hi guys, I'm Alex from technoclass.com, and this is the mind-blowing new phone from the Korean manufacturer. When we heard the rumors about the Galaxy S8 having an all-screen affair, we thought it'd come close to LG's recently announced G6, a wider aspect ratio phone with very small bezels around it. Pretty standard, we thought. But Samsung does it a few levels better by packing a larger display, wider aspect ratio with more pixels to boot, and nearly no bezels on the sides, and some of which disappear into the edges like nothing else we've seen before. Samsung calls this the Infinity display, and we understand why. It is similar to the Infinity pools that just fall over the edge with no semblance of a wall. In fact, the only wall we can see are the bracket-like designs top and bottom, and those are kept to a minimum as well. Just enough to remind you where the phone starts and where it ends. You know, imagine dropping this in a pool with the wallpaper showing all water, and you might not find it anymore. What this translates to is a phone that packs some of the largest displays in the market, 5.8 inches and 6.2 inches on the Galaxy S8 Plus, yet it is much smaller than competing phones like the LG G6 and the iPhone 7 Plus. And boy, does it feel good in the hand. The near bezel-less nature of the display means your thumb can cut across the 1440 pixels and reach both sides easily, something near impossible on other phones with displays close to this size. And the thin design and edged corners help in securing your grip as well, making this easily one of the best feeling large display devices we've ever held, bar none. But what does it offer aside from this killer HDR capable AMOLED display? Well, inside the machine, we're getting some expected top-of-the-line hardware, a Snapdragon 835 or Exynos 8895 octa-core made by Samsung's new and efficient 10nm manufacturing process. You'll also get 4 gigs of RAM to power the new Android Nougat with Samsung's new version of TouchWiz UI, which looks much better than the previous generation, by the way. The cameras have stayed mostly the same in the back, with a 12-megapixel f1.7 optically image stabilized affair, which weirdly flanks the fingerprint scanner this time around. We don't understand why that is there, but you know, whatever. The front camera has been upgraded to 8 megapixel with autofocus and can also authenticate you via iris scanning or face recognition. The latter of which is fast enough to never notice it under normal use, which is great. And while Samsung isn't going with the dual lens trend this year, it still maintains the IP68 water resistance, fast wired and wireless charging batteries, of which there is 3000 mAh and 3500 mAh for the bigger one, S8 Plus, and you also keep the expandable storage from last year's model. So what did Samsung add feature-wise though? Well, two things actually. A new voice, image, and shopping assistant called Bixby. It recognizes food, consumer products, and landmarks via the camera and shows you any relevant information. It can also translate language and parse text from pictures too, which is great. It seems relatively powerful, but we've yet to see its full potential. Samsung, however, is so confident about the new Bixby Assistant that they literally added a dedicated physical button for it below the volume rocker and replaced the left home screen with Bixby's context-aware menus. The second thing the Korean company has implemented is called Samsung DeX, and it allows you to dock your S8 onto a desktop environment with a monitor, mouse, and keyboard as you would expect. A version of Android designed with windowed apps will run, and you can do your emails, browse, drag and drop files, or even multitask entirely on the S8 without the need for a computer. For people who literally have their entire lives on their smartphones, this is a great way to work on bigger projects without needing to transfer those files onto a desktop computer and spending the few minutes copying them back and forth or turning the computer on and off. It's a great idea, and while it's not necessarily pioneered by Samsung, we believe it's a great feature that might even allow us to run Android apps in a way we've never seen them before. But that also lands it in the three things that are possible question marks for this device. Will Samsung DeX catch on, or will users still prefer to work on laptops for more demanding tasks? Will Bixby fall flat and become another ugly version of S-Voice? And will the current ecosystem of content decide for 16 by 9 screens adapt well onto the 18.5:9 aspect ratio display of the Galaxy S8? Time will tell, but one thing is for sure, the phone is gorgeous and is ready to take on every challenge. I'm Alex from TechnoClass.com, and if you're in the Philippines, you can pre-order the Galaxy S8 starting April 17th from Samsung Experience Stores or Lazada for the price of 39,990 pesos. If you prefer the S8 Plus, that'll run you 45,990 pesos. All pre-orders will get a free Bluetooth speaker, which costs about 5,000 pesos. So if you're in the market, maybe pre-ordering is the right move. If you live elsewhere, make sure to check your local Samsung representatives for availability in your region. As always though, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.